So Tanner, when a buyer places an offer on a piece of property and enters escrow, how easy is it for them to get out of escrow or cancel the contract?
It's a good question. One of my main goals as your real estate broker is to ensure that you're entering an agreement that is locationally, financially, and physically up to par with what you need as a buyer.
Yeah.
So I'm going to touch base on 3 outs, and an out, the technical term is a contingency. The buyer's physical inspection contingency, the loan contingency, and the appraisal contingency.
Okay, so those are 3 tools to get out of
Yes, correct. So when you enter into an agreement, you're given a finite number of days that you can conduct all your physical inspections. If during that period you come into contact with something that you don't like about the property, for instance, a cracked foundation, damaged plumbing, even if it is soiled carpet, we can get out of that agreement due to those issues.
Okay, so Tanner, if we're in escrow, we've just gotten our inspections on a property, and we find a physical defect, whether it be foundation, roof, somewhere on the piece of property, what are some actions that you can take as a licensed real estate agent and broker to kind of remedy for the client on the sale price?
My first step would be to take my findings, and I wouldn't just take a home inspection. If there's a foundation issue, then I would take the foundation inspection findings, which typically would include a bid to repair that foundation issue. I would take that finding to the seller, and I would ask the seller for a price reduction to cover the cost to repair the foundation issue. Now, if the seller is being stubborn and they don't want to reduce the offer amount at all, then I would try to negotiate for either a full or partial credit at the close of escrow to cover either all their work done or part of the work to be done. Now, if both of those, it's a no-go, then we're going to have a conversation with the buyer to see if they're willing to accept the flaws and fix it on their own, or we can just go ahead and cancel escrow.
Sure.
The next contingency I'm going to touch on is the loan contingency. So for some reason during the escrow period, your client isn't able to qualify for a loan due to a loss of job or other income related issue, you can easily cancel the escrow and get your deposit back. The last contingency I'm going to touch base on is the appraisal contingency. An appraisal contingency means once you put an offer in on a property, if the appraisal comes back below that offer amount and the seller isn't willing to reduce the offer amount to that appraised value, then you will have to come in with the extra money because your lender is only going to lend on the appraised amount. For example, if you have a $500,000 offer on a property, the appraiser comes in and appraises the property at $475,000. I attempt to negotiate with the seller to reduce the offer amount to $475,000. The seller isn't going to budge, so ultimately you have to bring in $25,000 at the close of escrow on top of what you're already bringing in. As a real estate broker and appraiser, I will typically not try to have you enter into a contract that is too far above market value. I'll use my years of experience to place an offer at what I feel is market value to try to remedy these kind of issues.
Sure. And for me, as somebody being represented by you, that's where I see the most value. You coming to the table as both a broker and as an appraiser. You know, you being able to see a property, what it's been appraised at, and make recommendations or guide the client to say, hey, this property, the appraisal came in low. Me, as an appraiser myself, I would say that this appraisal is either accurate, below, or above. I mean, to me, that's huge.
Yeah, it's and I do have to tread lightly. I have to wear each hat at individual moments. When I'm a real estate broker, I have to wear my broker hat. When I'm an appraiser, I have to wear my appraiser hat. But just having that background hopefully makes my clients feel a lot more comfortable when placing an offer, especially in markets where there are multiple offers and you need to offer just the right amount.
Sure.
When there's a large level competition.
So with all the contingencies, I think the big takeaway that I'm getting is, there are ways to get out of a contract. So as a developer, as an investor, somebody buying a piece of property, I think it'd be safe to say you shouldn't be kind of gun shy when entering into transaction. If it's a piece of property that looks appealing at face value, go ahead and get into it. If you have somebody like yourself working, to work with, And if a physical defect comes up,
Correct.
Mechanisms to get out of the contract.
Yeah, that's one of my main goals is to make sure that you can exit that agreement just as quickly as you entered the agreement, because real estate is very time oriented, and you need to jump on a property and you need to be able to get out of that as soon as possible as well, and receive your entire deposit amount back.
Right, being agile and mobile and kind of the rules of the game and you can play within them.
And that's important, having a knowledgeable real estate broker who knows all the exits, all the contingencies,
right.
And doesn't cause you to lose your deposit amount for any reason.